Right, here we are. MPL presents Cricbuzz Live. Rajasthan Royals playing today. They're up against Chennai Super Kings. One team desperately needs a win. The other just seems to win from everywhere, but they're out of their comfort zone now. They're gone out of Chennai on those slow, sluggish, somnolent pitches that nobody liked, and they're up in Jaipur where the ball does a little bit more. And in our studio today, we've got the Risotto Raiders, an Englishman and a New Zealander who come to India and eat Indian risotto. Michael Vaughan's just back from Jaipur?
Yes, I enjoyed a few days in Jaipur, saw a few tigers, managed to see 4 tigers and 2 cubs, which was very nice. Got into a bit of trouble. I actually like the animals on the road, but I got a load of abuse for that.
You've copped it, haven't you?
Oh,
you have copped it.
I mean, there was an elephant, there was a camel, there was a dog, there was a horse. There was all sorts. It's marvellous. I like it.
Yeah, when I read that tweet, I think that's India.
Yes.
And that's the wonders of India. I mean, no matter what it is or where it is, you'll see all sorts of different things in this beautiful country, and it's just the wonders of it, you know. But
you just see sheep down where you live.
Oh, I just see sheep. It's boring. It's absolutely boring. We get sheep running down the main street.
Harsha, I'm from the UK where at the minute everything is rule bound. Everything is regimented. And to drive along the road and just see people, animal, it's wonderful. Yeah. Free-spirited. Love it.
How many New Zealanders would have seen a tiger? I mean, even the Kiwis stopped flying because there's no predators around.
No, not in the...
No.
I still haven't seen one in the wild, actually.
You haven't?
No, I haven't. Now
this is your 32nd visit to India.
And some, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, we were due to go to, is it Pench National Park? When we were in Nagpur at one stage.
There's Tadoba just outside Nagpur as well.
Okay, that didn't eventuate, so unfortunately I didn't get to do that, but it's on the list. It's on the list.
You need a lucky charm.
Yeah, I don't think this will be my last time to India, Harsh.
I'll tell you what, I was...
if I say something wrong like Vaughanie, it might be my last time.
They're all saying I'm off, I'm me done.
What I hoped Michael wouldn't do is go all the way to Jaipur and start catching up with Josh Butler and Ben Stokes and everybody, because they've been in Jaipur for a week now.
Yes, I saw them on Instagram that they were having some
They need
fun.
a win though.
Yeah, they're trying to create a bit of spirit. I see that Ben Stokes has been cutting a few of the guys' hair. I think a few of them lost a bet or two, but yeah, they need a win. They've played all right. They've played okay. I thought in the last game, you know, it looked like they've got a half-decent score on the wicket that they'd batted on. Smith played nicely. Josh Butler kind of made a scratchy 30-odd, but KKR has dislodged it in 13 overs. Clearly, it was about 40 runs light.
Yeah, you look at the points table. They need a few people to come back into form. If anything, they were similar last year. They won only 2 of their first 5, and then won 5 on the back stretch, and just about scraped in. But at the moment, I mean, Simon, at the start of the season, we looked at that side and we said they've got 4 quality quicks who can play every game. There's Dhawal Kulkarni, Jaydev Unadkat, but also Ben Stokes, Jofra Archer. They've got an off spinner, a wrist spinner, bat all the way down. I didn't think they'd be there.
Well, they had 4 quality overseas players, which you look at, and if you put all 4 together in their stats and where they stack up, you would think that's 4 guys that can win you games. Well, they haven't done that. And that's been one of their biggest issues. And the other thing is they'll lose 3 of those guys very shortly before that last 5 games comes along, where they have to probably win 5 out of 5 to make it to the playoffs.
When do England take their players back?
On the 22nd.
22nd?
Yeah, they've got about... So what have they play? I think they've got 4 more games left.
4 more games.
So, yeah, the England players. I don't think they've quite got the tactics right in terms of the personnel, playing in the right positions. You know, I know... I'm from England, I'm going to kind of support the England lads, but they've not used Ben Stokes as they should use him, particularly as the batsman. You've got to get him up the order. You've got to give him balls to get in, and then he's destructive. He's never been a player that can come in the last 5 and go straight away. He's not that kind of player.
He's not a Russell, is he? He's not a Russell.
No, he's not that kind of player. He's not a Kieran Pollard. He's a batsman that goes in here, knock it around. The left-hand, right-hand combination would be good for the team as well. They get 2 right-hand top-heavy at the top of the order. You know, Steve Smith going to 3 in the last game. I wouldn't use Smith at 3. You know, I'd use him at 4. He's like the glue if things don't quite go right at the top of the order. He comes in and kind of puts it.
I mean, he's Steve Smith, right? He's Steve Smith. Before the ban happened, he was one of the greatest. But if he's not batting open 3, whatever, does he get a spot in that side?
That was my point in 2 games ago, bore he got that 70 in the last game, was that
it took time getting the 70.
He too long, to be honest, because you saw that the innings that won the game was, I think, 10 or 12 balls less for the same score in the second innings. So, look, to me, they haven't got it quite right. He shouldn't have played probably after the first 3 games. I don't think they should have brought Ashton Turner in and given him an opportunity. You talk about Ben Stokes, but he, like Pollard did last night, Ben Stokes is a way better player than just to come out and slog it. He's a better cricketer than that. Kyron Pollard's first-class record was actually better than most of the guys playing Test match cricket for West Indies. I've always said that he's been a one-trick pony by the Mumbai Indians, that he's been pigeonholed into that number 6, 7 spot, come out and slog it late. He's a way better batsman than that. And last night he proved it coming in at number 4. He could win a game from number 4.
The best way to describe the Rajasthan Royals' performance in the last game with the bat in hand is they looked to me like they were worried about getting out. Yeah. They looked to me like when they were batting, they were thinking, "Oh, if I play this shot, I might get out." In T20 cricket, you can't have that.
Does the word caution exist in T20 cricket?
No, you can't have that. You've just got to have a clear mind and just go for it. Particularly in the first 6, and in the first 6 overs, they were just kind of knocking it back and almost waiting for a bad ball to come. You know, the likes of Josh Butler don't wait for bad balls. They make bowlers bowl bad balls because they intimidate them.
Interesting you bring that up, because this year the first 6 overs have been more sluggish than previous years.
Yeah, slow nature of the surfaces. I think if you look across the whole tournament, you're seeing Chennai playing on really poor pitches, Delhi are playing on really poor pitches. Yeah. So they're going to bring the average score down in that first 6 overs across the board to me. So, you know, you can read into some of those situations and think, well, Sunrisers have played on 2 really good surfaces, really good pitches, and they've scored over 200 or 180. Kolkata are playing on a good one, so they're going to keep it at the top end. And then the ordinary, slow, sluggish pitches are going to keep keep it fairly even. So I don't think you can read too much.
I wouldn't read a great deal into it, but there's also a little bit of a trend happening around the world in T20 cricket that it's almost that way to go now, that they just play a little bit for a few overs, and they all back themselves going down that last 10 over stretch that they're just going to get the 100s, 110. So it's almost like the old days of when we played, keep a few wickets in hand. You know, I personally think the first 6 you've got 2 licenses, 2 wickets to go for, and if you fall and you stumble and lose 2, then you kind of regroup a little bit. But you've got 2. Me and you we're not going to open the back, but we did. It's like go on, cause chaos. Yeah. You get out, I get out. Harsha, you come in. Your time is to just knock it around. You've got to try and reassess the situation. But for 6 overs, you've got to cause chaos.
I love the way you so kindly put it to Dooley, saying when we've played. When did you finish?
1999, 2000.
Yeah, I like the way you said when we played together.
2000.
Okay, not a generation gap, but we'll let that be. We'll let that be. Let's look at the numbers. I mean, maybe there's truth to what Michael's saying. 8.34 in 17, 8.39 in 18, now 7.57. So, could it also be that, as Michael said, Dooley, that there's so much, they back themselves so much over the back 10 that they say, right, 100 in the back 10 is gettable, let's just keep wickets in hand.
Yeah, that's fine if you've got the players to do that. But I still think that first 6 overs on a slow-natured pitches, you've got to make the most of that new ball coming on, and teams aren't choosing to do that. So whether they've got the personnel to do it, and I look at this Rajasthan side and think, well, yes, Josh Butler has. Jinka Rahane, I mean, he hasn't had a great year. His T20 stats, for me, are not quite what you would want from an opening batsman. But where else does he play?
I mean, he's a touch player, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He needs the ball coming on, and then he can use those square of the wicket.
You talk about ball not coming on. I think some of them in Chennai that they bowled a couple of days back are still reaching the batsman.
It's still going now.
They're still coming. It's terrible.
I reckon if you can find someone, you got the Warner and Bairstow combination has been great. They're great. High class players who play strong cricket strokes. They don't look to me when they're coming out the traps and hitting 4s and 6s that they're taking too big a risk. They're just playing good, strong shots. Someone like Sunil Narine is the worst possible opponent because you just know what he's going to do. He's just going to back away a little bit and he's just going to swing. He wants you to try and bowl to hit the stumps. He's desperate. He's saying to the bowler, go on, try and bowl me because I'm just going to clean you over mid-on.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if he gets out. They're playing 7 batsmen.
And that's what you need. In the first 6 overs, you need that style of player and mentality that doesn't care. Doesn't care if he gets out.
Right, now there's one team that desperately needs a win. There's another that just can't stop winning. And the Chennai Super Kings, backed by the most passionate fans, just winning everything. What have they got today? Let's take a look at both sides then. Because it's interesting that MS Dhoni said in Chennai that the conditions in Chennai didn't quite tell him what his best side's going to be. And so he's made 2 changes. Chennai normally don't make any changes, so they've got 2 in. Shardul Thakur comes in, Scott Kuggeleijn goes away. I mean, that last over Scott Kuggeleijn bowled the other day, I thought Brett Lee was going to throw something on the TV set. he was that worked up about the back of a length that he was bowling. And Mitch Santner comes in. So Jadeja, Mitch Santner and Imran Tahir, they're playing 3 spinners there. Deepak Chahar has been the best bowler in the power play. and Shardul Thakur. So Watson, Faf du Plessis. Watson's...
Well, he's on his last legs, isn't he?
You think so?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I know they're very loyal. I know MS is incredibly loyal, and he won them a title last year.
You getting rid of the Aussie, are you?
Well, I think I might, yeah. But I'm going to replace the Aussie with an Englishman.
Now we're talking.
Oh, yeah, we're all right now, aren't we?
I totally agree with you. Get rid of him.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he's got one, maybe two more opportunities to really put a score on the board. Otherwise, they probably should look at Sam Billings. Sam Billings is not going to be part of the English World Cup setup. He'll be here right through to the far end, to the back end of the tournament. Brilliant in the field. MS has talked about their fielding a little bit, neading to be just a touch better. He's brilliant.
But they put him on the field anyway.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean,
Every time
that's
you look
another
at Sam
thing
Billings
about
on the field.
That's another thing. I mean, last night that annoys me. Chris Gale goes and bats and then fakes an injury and then doesn't field.
He's got a back strain, isn't he?
Look, I really don't care. I really don't care what he's got. He doesn't take the field every time they bat first. And that is not right. Now, these captains all sat down.
The guy's got a niggle.
The captains all sat down at the start of this tournament and said, we need to be a little stronger on this. They all agreed. All of the captains agreed that this is something that they need to look at because it's happening too often. And, you know, two or three teams have now just...
Well, if you were playing against Kings 11 and the universe boss went out and back, gets 60-odd and he runs between the wickets and all of a sudden, my back's gone. Surely you're in your right as an opposing captain, so you can't have a sub.
I know, except that when he's batting, you say, right, so when is the back going to go anyway? Because you're not going to field.
I know, and that's the thing.
But surely,
and then Moses Enriques,
when's the injury taking place?
Yeah. Moses Enriques comes onto the field, takes a brilliant catch. Now, not that Chris Gale would have been fielding in that position anyway. He's normally inside the circle, but I just don't like it. I don't like the way that's been manipulated. And
I think Mohammad Kaif said that in a press conference.
He's been quite outspoken about it, Mohammad Kaif, as well.
A captain will refuse that if that continues to happen. Yeah. And rightfully so.
Right, so that was the Chennai Super Kings team. You can make your own team as well, can't you? Remember, if you're playing, this is the MPL presents Cricbuzz Live. So download the MPL app when you go to superteam.live. Select a match, join a contest, make your super teams, and it's great fun because sometimes you see all the famous guys make their teams, and then when your team beats them, there's a big buzz anyway, there isn't there? So that's the best part of playing Fantasy League. Now here is the Rajasthan Royals team, and they've had to make a few changes. Sanju Samson comes back in. Rahul Tripathi is still in there. So Rahane, Butler, Smith, Samson, Stokes, Tripathi. That was how they started off the tournament. Now they've got Riyan Parag in for Krishnappa Gautam. Gautam bowled just at 1 over against Sunil Narayan, I think. Riyan Parag bowls a few leg breaks. Shreyas Gopal has been bowling leggies as well. Then Jofra Archer, Jaydev Unadkat, and Dhaval Kulkarni. Okay, so that's... I thought they might leave Dhaval Kulkarni out. So who've they... they've left out that other leggy, the young guy that
that made his debut.
Midhun. Sudesh and Midhun. They picked Sudesh and Midhun, so they've left him out. It seems to me...
It looks a good team.
Yeah?
You know, every time you look at the Rajasthan Bowlers 11, doesn't matter who they've left out, you look and go, that's a very good team with lots of quality, great variations. You know, they're athletic in the field as well. You know, they should be winning more games than
almost like saying, but who's the West Indian in that side? In a manner of speaking, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no, he's English now. You changed the rules. You changed the rules to get him.
Claimed him as well.
I know he's good. He better be good in the World Cup because they changed the whole system for him.
He's the male Zola Bud, isn't he?
Yeah, just get him in. Yeah, but there's
but
too
in a
much
manner of
quality
speaking,
in that team.
In a manner of speaking, who's the Russell? Who's the Pollard? Who's that kind of player?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what they want Ben Stokes to do.
Butler.
And I think Michael was right. He just needs a little more time. So coming in at 5 is probably a little bit too late for him. As I said, though, with Rahane at the top, if he doesn't open, where does he bat? And does he play if he doesn't open? So, I mean, in an ideal world, I'd have, if Steve Smith's going to play, I'd have him at the top with Joss Butler because he hits the ball in weird places. He likes the ball coming on. And you give him more time. I'd have Samson at 3 and Stokes at 4 in an ideal world.
Getting rid of the
and maybe Ajinkya Rahane at 5.
So you'd open with Steve Smith.
Ajinkya Rahane plays spin really well.
Yeah.
So I would actually move them all up and maybe play Jinx at number 5 and say, if we get to 130 for 2, Jinx, you might not bat. We might just bring the power hitters in, and you may not bat, but you're a very important cog in this team. If we're 2 down, you can go in.
I'll be very interested to see what MS Dhoni does because Deepak Chahar's been outstanding.
Yes.
But when you've got Ajinkya Rahane, Joss Butler who like pace on the ball, will they go with spin straight away? Will they go with Jadeja potentially Imran Tahir. They know that Butler's got a bit of an issue against leg spin.
Let's look at that side again. Let's look at what options Dhoni is playing with today, because he likes to carry options onto the ground, but he's playing just 5 bowlers
with a new ball.
He does?
Santner bowls a lot with the new ball, so maybe that is an option.
Because he likes to bowl Chahar for 3 overs. No one's taken on Deepak Chahar at all, because they've almost allowed him to bowl his 3 at the top.
Yeah, no, you said 5 bowlers, Harsh. I mean, that's a bit rough on Kedar Jadhav. I mean, please.
He hasn't bowled an over.
I know,
Jadhav hasn't bowled.
I know, but he picks up New Zealand wickets for fun.
I'll tell you who's bowled like Kedar Jadhav. It's Ashwin. You saw Ashwin bowl the
other night.
They've got plenty of options.
Yeah.
Watson doesn't bowl.
You'd expect Deepak Chahar to start up because he's been outstanding, but they'll certainly take pace off to Butler and Ajinkya Rahane. Particularly if Ajinkya carries on at the top of the order, you just don't want to give him any kind of pace, any kind of width. Just bowl straight. Chawla did a great job for KKR. Bowled that first over. I think just 4 went from it, but you could just see the dots were building. The pressure was starting to mount, and they just capitulated after that.
Deepak Chahar started off as a medium pace, slightly above medium pace swing bowler. He took 8 for 29 on his first class debut, just swinging the ball everywhere. Let's take a look at Deepak Chahar's numbers, because Dooley, for someone who started off as a swing bowler, you might understand. Why is he doing that well?
Well, he's trying to swing it. He's trying to take wickets up front, which is great. You only get probably 3 or 4, 5 overs with this white ball swinging in these sorts of conditions. So he wants to be used, or MS Dhoni wants to use them as exactly that, up front, try and swing it, knock over 1 or 2 for us, and then we can really put pressure on with the spinners. He's been outstanding. He hits the deck hard. I think he bowls it. He's only mid-130s, but he actually hits the pitch quite hard.
I think he's reinventing himself. He started off as
sort of floaty. He was a bit floaty, wasn't he, early on in his career? But he actually now, he's hitting the deck quite hard. It only has to do a little bit when you're doing that. When you're hitting the deck, he just does a little bit.
I mean,
he's nicking guys out, he's getting LBWs, he nips it back. And he's got a role. He's just taking that role on and doing it brilliantly.
Yeah, what he does, like all quality seamers do, they say to the batsman, you're going to have to play a good shot. So he bowls that in-between length. All right, he's getting a little bit of nibble, not a great deal, but what he's saying to the batsman, he's not offering loads of width that they can just free their hands up. He's bowling tight into that off stump. Every now and then he goes a bit straighter, but he's bowling that length. So go on and play a big shot. Try and play a really good. If you play a great shot, I think he sticks his hand and go, good shot, batsman. But he doesn't bowl the. He doesn't bowl the floaties. He doesn't bowl the short stuff. He just goes, you know what? I'm going to watch your feet. I'm just going to try and hit off stump wherever your feet move to. I'm going to try and make sure that I'm in that zone that you can't free up your hands.
Who do they bowl at the death? Chennai. There's no Dwayne
Shardul Thakur. I was just looking at that list. I mean, he's got a bowl at the death.
He has to. That's the reason he's inside. Yeah.
I imagine they'll just leave 1 over from Chahar. Yeah. Now, he's not as comfortable bowling at the death. So it's going to be something that he has to come to terms with. But I don't see them bowling a spinner at the death, and they've got 3 of them. So I'd imagine that Imran Tahir can bowl 16th, 17th over, 18th over. I don't have an issue with that.
I'm just thinking, who have they got? They've got a leggy. He bowls a lot of wrong guns, but they've got a leggy, and they've got 2 left-arm spinners. There might be a case that he said send the left-hander up straight away, because they've got 2 left-arm spinners. And then someone takes on the left-arm spinner. Suddenly Dhoni's looking around for a bowler.
Correct. Yeah.
So they need to break that up, Rajasthan. They need to be smarter in their dugout. Just throwing Stokes in there. If that happens, if you've got the left-armers on, you go and get out there next. Don't be so regimental in terms of the order that you've got. Try and react to the opposition. Try and deliver out in the middle what the opposition would least want.
And you can be a bit regimental when you're losing, can't you? Because you're worried about doing something funky and it not working. Well, this is the tournament to do something funky and hope that it works. Because it's you're almost out of it. You're almost out of it. But I think captains and maybe even management can look at situations like this and go, if we do something and it looks a bit silly and it doesn't come off, geez, we are going to cop it here. But this is the time to do it for Rajasthan, I think.
Because he's got to find someone to bowl the power play overs. He's got Chahar bowling 3. He needs Shardul Thakur to bowl at the back end.
Yeah.
And he's got only spinners thereafter.
Well, that's why
spinners early on.
Yeah, that's why Santner opens the bowling for mine. I mean, he does it. You watch him float. It just sort of floats out. It bowls a lot of arm balls. Doesn't really try and turn it too much at all. Yeah, he's got 2 right-handers, so as long as he's not giving them width, he'll be fine.
But MS Dhoni don't worry about what he should and shouldn't do. He just looks at his team. He goes, right, I've got 6 bowlers. Get ready. You might be bowling the power play. You might be bowling the death. I've got no plan. I'm going to react when I'm out in the middle. That's the way he plays the game.
I asked Harbhajan Singh once. I said, you played 2 games and didn't get to bowl in either of the 2 games. He said, yeah. I asked MS. I said, why haven't I bowled? He said, I didn't feel the need.
And how good is that? I mean, Harbhajan has been outstanding.
Yeah.
He played the first game, didn't he? I think he missed
got
the
two
second.
man of the match, yeah.
Yeah, missed the second game, came back and played the third.
And he's a home bowler, I think.
Well, that's it. I mean, they're saying, look, you're going to be brilliant for us at Chipaka. You're going to be great at home. Away, we might not use you as much.
I mean, you don't need to come on the plane.
No, just stay at home.
Just stay by the pool.
Have a nice time by the seaside.
I asked him the other day. I said, did you migrate to our commentary box too early? He said, no, since I've come there, I've thought more about the game. I'm actually bowling better.
And that's exactly right.
I just wonder if that happens. I mean, too, if you're not going to go back to playing cricket. But
no, no chance with my knees, Harsh. But Ajay said that the other night, actually. He said that I think every cricketer, before they consider retirement, should come and do a month or two in a commentary box and just get a different perspective on the game and see whether they still love it or not. And see whether they can pick up anything and pick up anything different. And Harbhajan did it in England.
Yeah.
Came back and he did a little series back here in India as well. He looks like he's never
advise
stopped.
I advise all young England cricketers to try and spend days, weeks in the commentary box, just being around. Because when you're a player, you get this perception that all pundits, commentators hate the team, want everyone to fail, love the teams losing. And yet they come and spend a few days in the commentary box and they see how passionate everyone is for the game of cricket. You get the odd one or two that's quite happy to see the team lose, but you know the majority of people that are in the commentary box just love the game. That's why they're there talking about the game, because they just want to see good cricket played in the right spirit, in the right way. You know, and I want England to win. I'm not going to hide behind the fact you want New Zealand, you'd want India to win. That's fine, but you know you've got to be.
You still call the game as if you would call any game, but I mean, if India win, New Zealand win, I mean, you're happy, you know. You're happy.
And you know, as a commentator, you're doing well when you get accused of being biased towards the home side and against the home side. Then you're doing all right.
Then you're doing everything. You're doing everything properly.
I'm biased both sides. I'm all right. Sanju Samson's back. What a great 100 he got in Hyderabad. Very stylish, classy 100. Well, not the best or Warner kind of hundreds, but a very touch player.
I'm very pleased because he's in my fantasy team, and I thought if he was injured, because it's a new round starts today. A new round of games starts today, and he was in my fantasy team, and I'm sitting in here, and I can't change. I can't trade him out while I'm sitting in here because I'm going to have to go and get the iPad out. But I'm glad he's playing. So he's my vice captain too. So I'm backing him to get runs today.
You tell me, Harsha,
he's stylish
because he looks like a proper player. He looks like the kind of player that I see and go, why aren't you playing for India? I know there's a lot of competition. Why aren't you doing more in the international game? And why is it that I just see you score 100, then all right, he's had an injury, he goes missing, and then you'll score a 50 and you go, wow, the kid can play, and then he goes missing. Why isn't he doing it more consistently, and why isn't he putting on the colours of India on a more regular basis?
And he doesn't have consecutive 50-plus scores. He goes and plays first-class cricket for Kerala. He doesn't set the Ranji Trophy on fire. He'll make a few runs. In the Ranji Trophy today, you've got to make double hundreds to be noticed. 100 doesn't even get noticed. So he comes back into the IPL, and suddenly everyone's going, wow. I mean, I remember 3 or 4 years ago, Bish pulled out his entire vocabulary to describe Sanju Samson. So he just vanishes like that.
Well, at that stage too, he was when we were talking about him 2 or 3 years ago. He was wicket keeping. And he was the next in line almost to MS Dhoni in the
a couple of
one-day internationals and maybe even the T20s. Well, now a young fella from Delhi called Rishabh Pant has kind of taken over that
and
those
all
reins.
the guys who played before Dhoni are still playing. Parthiv Patel played before Dhoni. Dinesh Karthik played before Dhoni. Saha was around. Right, we got a joy factor question as well. Now, I wonder what the question's going to be, because when Joy's here, he sets easy questions. When he's not here, he sets the most impossible questions. So, right, let's see. We've got a long joy factor question today. So, the first was an Englishman who migrated to New South Wales in the 19th century. Okay. The second is a former army man from Rhodesia who played hockey for his country. Okay. The third, I'm going slowly intentionally so that you can read it too, is a South Asian cricketer with a nickname of a common bird who bowled off spin. These three are the only people to hold which batting record? An Englishman who migrated to New South Wales in the 19th century. So there was someone thinking right even in the 19th century. The second is an army man from Rhodesia who played hockey for his country. And they're only people to hold which batting record? Well, Joy's come up with a weird one this time. Wow. So remember #Cricbuzz Live. Simon, what do you think?
Hockey for his country.
migrated in the 19th century from England to New South Wales. That might be the cue, actually, if it is Googleable at all. Right, so there you are. Remember to put it in on hashtag Cricbuzz Live. We've also got our MPL Super Couch today, gentlemen.
What are we doing? Scores?
Scores.
Okay.
What did they get last time? 139?
157 is par score so far.
And both captains seem to think this was a better looking pitch.
It is, because so far in Jaipur, we've had pitches that have been patchy.
Yeah, they have.
A bit of green and a bit of turf.
They'll play more aggressively, won't they? I'm going 168.
168.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a little higher than that.
139 last game.
Yeah, 168. I'll go 186. I'm just going to change the 6 and the 8 around.
186, 168?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'll go the outlier. I'll go 151.
Wee, gone low.
I don't know, I'm just kidding. Let's see what happens. Remember, we'll be back with you at the 10-over mark with Cricbuzz Combox as well. Let's see what happens. Remember, it's a game that Rajasthan Royals simply must win, and Chennai Super Kings, I guess they're just too cool. They're in a good position. So we'll join you after the 10 overs.